Hey ghosties, I have 2 stories today because it has been 2 years for me and Ollie. As of yesterday, actually, we will have a vlog coming out because we vlogged all day yesterday and it was such a nice day. I'm making this video themed around abusive boyfriends, and I am so grateful that I don't have to go through any of this, and I'm so sorry to anyone that does. Thank you to all the ghosties returning to watch this, and if you want to become one of my ghosties, subscribe to join my cemetery of ghosts. And if you do join my cemetery of ghosts, you could be entered to win a boo basket if you are active and commenting and liking and all that stuff. Here is all of my socials. And I have a Reddit if you want to submit your own stories, and I have a Discord. All of that is always down below. This first story is titled "My Ex Has Been Stalking Me," and it comes from Reddit user Dinostores. Let me just say, I was young and dumb when I met him. I'm 18 years old. I met him when I was 16. I was never in a relationship before him. I was a bigger girl and just had an extremely hard time getting guys to like me. I met him on Snapchat. I didn't realize it then, but he had loved-bombed the hell out of me. I was so lost in the feeling of being wanted that I ignored the extreme red flags. After only a week of talking, he convinced me to meet him at his house to hook up. He lived almost an hour away from me, and I was a new driver. Anyways, how we met is not the point. He showed extreme signs of being a narcissist and even admitted to me that he believes himself to be a sociopath. But I never let the red flags keep me from leaving him. He was possessive over me and manipulated me into believing he was the only one there for me, made me cut off my friends, and even made me distance myself from my family. He cheated on me so many times. I caught him 3 times. He admitted to me that out of the 18 months we were together, he was faithful for 3, which is bullshit. He cheated on me the entire time. I had evidence of which, in the end, he kept lying to save his own ass. I had extreme abandonment issues due to my father. My abandonment issues aren't only about me. I have a deep fear of abandoning people who need someone. I thought he needed me. He was going to the Marines. His ship date was late June of 2024. A few days before he shipped off, I proposed to him. I know, I'm fucking stupid. Don't get me started on how much I hate myself in this situation. But if you have ever been emotionally and psychologically abused, you can understand that you simply cannot think about yourself and your safety. You think about what is best for your abuser so that they are happy, so that they don't have a reason to abuse you. We made it through boot camp. We sent letters all 13 weeks. It felt so magical to know someone loved me enough to stay true to our relationship through something difficult as long-distance military relationship. I loved him so much. I saved money to drive down to California to see him graduate. It was amazing and what I thought were the best days of my life. He was still quiet and reserved. He always was. I never saw a problem with it because he was his true self when he was with me. When he came home from California, he lived with me. He had a bad relationship with his parents and made me believe he had nowhere else to go. This was my mistake because once he moved in, I was truly trapped. He did RA late August, late October. He shipped back off to California for his schooling, and so started our long distance again. One morning in March of this year, I woke up and checked my phone. If you have ever been cheated on and stayed, you just become paranoid. He had 2 Instagram accounts, one of which he had me blocked on. I created another Instagram account just so I can watch his followers and his posts. He started following more and more women. On that day, he had posted on his main story, a story that was hidden from me. He posted a joke about cheating on your dumb girlfriend. You don't joke about shit you haven't done. So again, I sent him a message explaining just how unfucking funny it was and how he knows how much that traumatized me. Afterwards, I was done. I messaged girls he followed on his other account and learned he was on dating apps. After that, it was the end of us. There were 3 days of us communicating. On April 2nd, I took his belongings to his parents' house, told him to never contact me again. Everything was silent for a few weeks. I was healing. This man abused me for almost 2 years. He made me believe so many nasty things about myself and my family. I would go into more details, but at this point, this shit is a novel. One night, late April, I got a text on my phone. Package arrived. I was confused and responded with a question mark. The number told me there was something on my porch. When I opened my door, there was a notebook sitting there. Mind you, it was 11 p.m. at night, so I'm freaked out. Front to back, this notebook was filled with letters from my ex. I refused to read it. He had gotten out of the Marines on an other than honorable discharge, and he moved to the city next to mine. He hated my town and how desolate it was. He moved 20 minutes away from me just so he could be close. He could have moved anywhere, but he moved to a town he hated just to be close to me. Also, he doesn't have a car, so he rode his bike 13 miles just to drop this off on my porch. I gave the notebook to my parents and messaged the number back to never contact me again and never come near my house or I would be calling the authorities. I blocked the number. That night I slept in my parents' bedroom. I cried so much. I'm so sorry. This is so horrible. At 1:30 a.m. I got another message on my phone from a different number than before saying, "Can you honestly tell me you've enjoyed this past month?" It took this psycho 3 hours to have a new number and start texting me again. I sent a very long, nasty message describing just how great my life was without him, and again told him not to contact me. I had to change my number, my garage code, and my front door code. A few weeks later, I got 3 letters in the mail from him, all very possessive and nasty. One was a suicide note describing exactly how and why he had killed himself. I called his city's dispatch and sent a wellness check. He was alive. He told the officer that he was just upset. I had done a lot to try to get him into some sort of mental care. He refused time and time again. I told the officer to tell him directly, and if he contacted me in any way, that I'd be filing for a stalking and harassment report. Lo and behold, a week later or so, I get a message on Facebook from a very, very fake account. All of its posts and information were clear indicators that it was him. Unfortunately, I had to read that notebook he left on my porch, and holy shit, he is crazy. In the notebook, he admitted to lying to me about attempting suicide, lied to me about being hospitalized, and lied to me about going into psych. He said it was also better for me to believe us breaking up made him suicidal. He also admitted to a lot of illegal activity and that he cheated on every single girl he was with. The whole notebook traumatized me even more. I went to the police station and filed a report. 2 days after I filed the report, I got more letters in the mail from him. One admitted to him watching me from a hill outside my house, and the other was him trying to return our engagement rings that I left with his belongings. He told me that it was smart to change my phone number and that I could not change my address so he could keep sending me letters until he won me over again. The last 2 letters were sent from a different state. That means he moved away. I'm very happy that I don't have to worry about my physical safety anymore, but every week I get more and more letters. He's obsessed with me and I simply don't understand why. He's cheated because some fucked up part of his brain wasn't satisfied with me, and now that he's without me, he's literally going crazy. I never want to see that man again. I am terrified of him. I still look over my shoulder thinking he will be there, even though he moved. Every time I get a call or text from a random number, I think it's him and panic. Even though I changed my phone number, I have nightmares of him. He mentally fucked me up so bad. I can only realize now that he's gone. I hope he stops sending me letters or that he goes to jail. This will happen to another girl if he is not punished. I want justice for myself, but I also want to protect that future girl. I truly hate him and wish the worst for him. That is so terrible. I'm going to go and play Among Us quick, and then I will be right back with the second story. So join the Discord if you ever want me to stop my stories to come and play games with you guys. Okay guys, I'm back. I had so much fun. You should join the Discord, definitely. Link down below. The second story I got from CJ's subreddit, and I love her videos so much, and I really appreciate this person for letting me read their story, and I'm so sorry that you had to go through this. This is titled Traumatized on Acid by my ex. And this one comes from Reddit user Smelloyellokitty. Trigger warning, mentions of SA, threats of SA. I've never really thought of this story as a let's not meet. More like just a history with my ex and my trauma. This might not be the scariest story to most people, but it's something I still think about a lot and has changed me as a person. I think it would be helpful to have some backstory first. I'm currently 24 and female, and met my ex, let's call him Jay, in high school when I was a freshman. Jay was a year older than me, and ever since I first met him, I knew he was an asshole. But for some reason that was endearing to me. I liked the bad boy asshole to everyone but the person he liked mentality. Little did I know that type of guy didn't exist. They're always just going to be assholes to everyone and to their significant other. So Jay had a thing for me, and while he wasn't attractive, there was something about him that drew me to him, which nobody else got. We ended up dating for 5 or 6 years on and off. Here are some things I had to endure during our high school relationship. 1. He made multiple sex tapes of us and showed them to his friends and classmates. 2. He told his friends I had gotten pregnant, not even true, not sure why he would lie about it. 3. Found out he had gotten high with my ex-girlfriend and they had messed around. Not sure if this was before or after we dated, and it took me a while to realize this was but the fact that she fully was out as a lesbian and he seemingly had gotten her high so he could mess around with her was disgusting. 4. He flirted with my younger sister and her friends. His brother was her age. 5. He hated my best friend to the point where he would constantly call her fat and ugly and say she was a bad friend to me. Being as naive as I was, I started to believe him, and that led to the breaking down of my relationship with her. He threatened to SA her after we broke up and messaged her multiple times trying to hook up with her. Thankfully, 6 years later, and we are best friends again, closer than ever. I can never stop apologizing to her for what he put her through. 6. He had gotten into a fight with his best friend and showed up to my parents' house where I was living, all bloody. He fought him for me because for some reason I was in a disagreement with them. Years later, I found out he did it to himself for attention. That's horrible. 7. Would call me constantly and scream at me, then showed up to my house once demanding a blanket he gave to me and wouldn't leave. 8. Blocked him on everything, and then he emailed me a voice memo of him basically calling me a whore and saying he wishes nothing but the worst for me. 9. One time he pretended he was following me and told me he was watching me so I would tell him who I was with. 10. Emailed my best friend, who he hated so much, potential boss, to tell that they shouldn't hire her because she's a racist who says the N-word, is homophobic, and is a danger to children. 11. Made up a story that he was in a drug trafficking ring in Boston and also a hitman. Told me that he had to kill someone and use their chopped up body as fish chum. Totally believed this, by the way. That's so horrible. And unfortunately, that's not where it stops. In my senior year, after I was alienated from all my friends by him and had basically turned into a person that was unrecognizable to everyone, I only had Jay left. I hated him, and everyone knew I hated him. I don't know why we kept getting back together, but we were stuck in a toxic cycle that was never ending. Jay was horrible for me, but it felt like home to me when I was with him. Jay's family hated me. My family hated him, but there we were, still together, after breaking up and making up for what seems like hundreds of times. The 4th of July, after graduating, I wanted to go out. Jay was going out with friends, but he refused to let me join. I was so sick of him and fighting with him, so I said I was done and broke up with him. Then that night I went out with a guy I was friends with and hooked up with him. He was the first person I had ever slept with since I lost my virginity to Jay. I felt free after that, and there started my hoe phase. I slept with multiple guys, one of them being his old close friend named E, we had gone to high school together for a few years before he switched to another school. E went to high school with my younger sister and was close friends with her as well. He quickly became my best friend, and while we did hook up a couple times, we decided it wasn't a good idea, and we just weren't compatible in that way. We were better off as friends, and we both liked it that way. I spent the whole summer before my freshman year of college with him, and it was amazing. I worked at a summer camp at a nearby school where I met a guy called T. I liked him a lot, but I didn't want to get too serious with him before leaving for college. So we just saw each other without the labels, even though we were the only ones each other was seeing. I was still hanging out with E at the time, and while T wasn't too fond of that, I knew E before I knew him, and he was just a good friend. So I told him not to worry. One day while I was out with T, I got an email from J. My heart felt like it would stop, and we listened to it together in the car. It was Jay cursing me out, telling me I was the worst person he knew and he hopes the worst for me. Hopes I die and hopes I have the worst possible experience in college. I laughed it off and blocked him, and little did I know he would be right. I went off to college soon after, and I had so much fun. A week in, and I was FaceTiming and texting E and T constantly, saying how much I missed them. I begged T to come up and visit me that weekend. I'd moved to college 2 hours away from our hometown, but he was working and said he wouldn't be able to. As disappointed as I was, it wasn't the end of the world, and I knew I could ask E to visit as well. E immediately said yes, and he would be up that weekend. Friday night came and he was up. We drank with my roommate and another friend I had met recently. We played Cards Against Humanity in our dorm room and made popcorn as we drank an entire handle of Smirnoff Red, White, and Berry. To this day, I cannot drink that without thinking of that night. As we were making popcorn drunkenly, we left it alone for a while and ended up setting off a fire detector. The whole dorm was evacuated and sent to the parking lot where we all stood as the fire trucks came and investigated. Our friend that we had met left to go back to her dorm, and it seemed like the party was over. When everyone went back inside, I was struggling to go up the stairs. I had only drank once heavily before, and I had gone a little too crazy. I want to say that I blacked out, but these past few years the memories have come back to me slowly. I won't get into the details, but that night I was assaulted as I passed out. I came to terms with what happened slowly and was afraid of telling T. So instead of telling him first, I told my best friend B. He helped me work up the courage to tell T, telling me over and over it wasn't my fault. However, when I ended up telling T, he said otherwise. He said he knew it was a bad idea for him to come up there, and that I basically cheated on him and was a dirty whore. That Monday, I was admitted into a psychiatric ward. B was the only one there for me throughout it, besides my family, who came up to visit and convinced me to drop out, saying they wanted me home where they could support me and that they didn't want me so far from home. So, despite wanting nothing more than to be in college, I dropped out and never returned. It's one of the biggest regrets of my life. When I came home, I unfortunately reconnected with Jay. We weren't together officially, but we did things people do when they're dating without the labels. For my birthday, he got us acid to do with our mutual friend. It was a really fun time and said for my birthday we could do a threesome, but when it came time to it, he yelled at the friend to leave me alone and made him sleep in the chair in the corner of the room. A couple weeks later, he got us acid to do again. So in case you're unaware, how acid trips usually go depend on the situation you're in and the mood you're in. I was having fun at first, and then he started saying these awful things about how mad he was that I left him for my friend and how he wanted to R-word him as revenge to make him feel less of a man and to take his masculinity away from him, and how he wanted to beat the shit out of him. I was terrified and my trip turned. I was texting B asking him to pick me up. I was so scared of Jay and didn't want to be there anymore. Unfortunately, his dad was in the hospital and he was there with him, so we couldn't. But I didn't blame him for that, so even though I was terrified of Jay, I stayed at his house while we rode out our trips. We continued our relationship for a few months until I dropped him for another guy. We dated that summer, and when he broke up with me in August, my heart was shattered. So, naturally, as toxic relationships tend to go, I fell back into a relationship with Jay. We hung out for a few months until October, when I was seeing a couple guys from Tinder. While I was over at this Tinder guy's house, I got a call at 6 a.m. from my dad telling me to get home as soon as possible. I told him I'd be on my way, but I had lied about where I was to go see this guy 30 minutes away. I had him drive me home, and when I got there, I saw that my dad's car that he gave me to use was covered in graffiti. There were words spray painted all over it with so many spelling errors, including liar, cunt, manipulator, fuck you, whore, bitch, and ruined all of my bumper stickers as well. I was pissed and confronted him about it, but he said he thought it was our mutual friend. Granted, I had tried to hook up with this friend because in high school we were close and had crushes on each other, so I thought now that I was single, why not? I thought for the longest time it was the friend until his friend told me he'd been covering for Jay, and it was his doing the whole time. I blocked him after this and we didn't talk for a while. The last time I talked to him was in December of 2020, when he made a fake account and said, and I quote, "You really do lower the bar for human decency. That's coming from me of all people. I get you always wanted to nail our friend, but you think he would pipe down. I just wanted to tell you how much I firmly believe your bloodline is tainted, and it should end with the four of you, and any future generations of my last name are only going to be further embarrassments. I hope only the worst for your next college experience, you manipulative." I blocked him then and haven't heard from him since. However, since we do have mutual friends, we still both went to the same party, but he backed down when he found out me and my boyfriend were going, saying how weird it was that my friends hang out with me and the guy who cucked him. His words, not mine. As for me, I've been happily dating B, the one constant this whole time. For 4 awesome years, he's been through it all with me, and I hope he continues to be. Okay. At least that one has a happy ending. I'm so happy you and B ended up together. And I'm so sorry you had to go through all of that other stuff. I'm so happy to have been with Oliver for 2 years. I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. Please like if you did. Please comment down below. And please subscribe if you haven't already. Watch the stories next Friday, and then the Tuesday after that Friday, the vlog will come out. And we have a lot of very spooky vlogs planned, and I'm so excited for all of those. And as always, you guys stay spooky. Bye!